the time it takes for me to give this speech, 250 people will be told they have cancer. 250. In the next 7 minutes. And statistically, almost half of them will find out it's too late. Now I'd like you to ask yourself why. Not why people get cancer or diseases. We already know the answer is too complicated. But why people find out too late. Because here's the truth that nobody puts on a fundraising poster. The signs were there. They're almost always there, weeks, months, sometimes years in advance. Hiding in plain sight, inside a scan, in a blood test, in microscopic patterns that are essentially a blueprint of what's coming. We just never had anything capable of reading them. Until now. Hi everyone, my name is Drishti Arora. And when I first read that statistic, 250 people every 7 minutes, I didn't move on. I couldn't. Because the part that got me wasn't the number itself, it was the part that comes after it. The part where a doctor sits across from a family and somewhere in that conversation, someone says it. If only we'd caught it sooner. And something about that never sat right with me. Was it actually bad luck? Was it truly unavoidable? Here's the truth. It wasn't. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't fate. It was a gap. A gap between the information that existed and our ability to act on it in time. So I decided that I didn't want to just understand the problem, I wanted to advocate for change. I started publishing articles, building simulations, and sharing my ideas with people who could help me bring them forward. And that's what's brought me here on this stage tonight. Medicine is one of the greatest achievements in human history, and the people who practice it dedicate their lives to keep us alive. And that's not up for debate. But even the greatest doctor in the world is still working with a human brain. And the human brain, as brilliant as it is, wasn't built to process millions of data points simultaneously. It wasn't built to remember every study ever published. And it certainly wasn't built to catch a pattern that has only appeared in 300 patients worldwide. So what did us humans do? We built a system around that limitation. We do our best, we screen when we can, and we catch what we catch. But when we don't, we grieve. We say it wasn't caught in time and move on, because what else could we do? AI has the potential to make that question obsolete. MIT researchers built an AI that analyzes a standard mammogram and detects a pattern no human eye can see. A pattern that tells us this person will develop breast cancer in the next 5 years. Not after symptoms appear, not after something grows large enough to feel, 5 years before. DeepMind built an AI called AlphaFold that solved a biological mystery scientists had been chasing for half a century: how proteins fold inside the human body. AI helped crack it within months. That breakthrough is already being used to develop treatments for things such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and cancers we previously had no roadmap for. And then there's this. An AI that decodes the brain signals of stroke patients who lost the ability to speak, turning that electrical firing in their mind into words on a screen. People who are silent for years finally able to say I love you to their family again. This is what dismantling a ceiling looks like. But I need to pause here for a second, because every time I talk about this, someone asks me the same question. Are you saying AI is going to replace doctors? No. Not now, not in 10 years, not ever. Think about what a doctor actually does. They don't just read scans and run tests. They sit across from a terrified person and tell them what's happening inside their body. They make judgment calls no algorithm can ever fully account for, and they carry the weight of someone else's bad day and still show up anyways. That isn't a job you can automate. That's a calling, and it will always require a human. What AI does is take everything a doctor cannot possibly do alone and hand it back to them as a tool. Okay, think of it this way. In 1961, when the first electronic calculator was introduced, mathematicians were afraid, genuinely afraid that the need for human thinking was about to disappear, that those years of skill and expertise were about to be made irrelevant by a machine. But that's not what happened. The calculator didn't replace mathematicians, it just took away the part of their job that was tedious, repetitive, and error-prone and handed it back to them as something far more valuable. Time and clarity. The ability to think bigger, go deeper, and solve problems in a fraction amount of the time. The calculator didn't replace mathematicians, it just made them a lot more powerful. That is exactly AI to medicine. The doctor of the future is no less human, but they're more capable than any doctor that has ever been. They're essentially just getting a partner that never sleeps, never gets overwhelmed, and never misses a pattern hiding in plain sight. So that when all of you are sitting in a room, waiting for answers, terrified, the person across from you has everything they need to help you. Penicillin, polio vaccine, the mapping of the human genome. History has these moments where everything shifts, and the generations that come after can't imagine how we ever lived without it. This is that moment. And maybe right now, it just sounds like a technological breakthrough. But if you pause, take a step back for a moment, and look at it from a wider perspective, it's much more than that. Because this isn't just about algorithms, faster diagnoses, or data. It's about what those things actually give us. More time sitting at the dinner table without realizing it matters. More time laughing at something you won't remember tomorrow until you realize it will stay with you forever. And more time for the moments that feel ordinary until you realize they were everything. And when you look at it from that perspective, the future of medicine starts to look less scary and a lot more promising. And that's what excites me the most. We're not just witnessing this shift, we're living through it, and we actively have the opportunity to shape what comes next. Now, with that in mind, I'd like to leave you all with one final thought. The future lies in the hands of those who dare to create it. This is more than just progress. This is our moment, a moment of revolution in healthcare, in science, and in saving lives. And that bright future of tomorrow has already started being shaped. The only question left to ask is who's ready to help build it? Thank you.